To be honest, like I ended up as an actress because it was the only thing that, you know, when I was in acting class, it was the only thing that, it's the only thing where people really said after like acting class, they would come up to me and say, I think you should do this. And I played the clarinet. I was a fast runner, but no one ever came up to me and said like, you know, this running thing, you should do it. Or your clarinet playing is so brilliant, whatever. But I have to say, but the acting thing, no matter what class I was in, whatever, people actually said nice things. And I really never had that in any other area. So I felt like, well, maybe I have this one area that maybe I could do something.
Well, I studied with quite a number of people. I studied voice, and you used to blow a candle out. So I'd blow, and I was so excited, I'd blow from here, and I'd lose my voice every time I played, because I was petrified. The actor's big worry, you know, which is, can I talk?
My voice. Yeah.
Can I walk?
Exactly.
Can I move?
Yeah.
So I've gotten to the can I move in real life stage.
But that
And
fear.
it's amazing how grateful you are if you can just do what you're supposed to do.
Talk and walk,
move,
yeah.
talk.
Yeah.
You have to put yourself in someone else's shoes. You not just the shoes of the person who might be in front of the camera, but in the shoes of the filmmaker, the shoes of the person who's pointing the camera. You have to make yourself, you know, an avatar. And that in itself is a completely humanistic act. It's like an act of empathy, to put yourself into somebody else's eyes, you know. And I just love that. I just love it. It doesn't really matter what's on the screen. The fact that in the first instance, one was required to put oneself out of one's own skin into someone else's feels to me like a really, you know, good thing to encourage, because it encourages people to think differently and to see differently and make connections they might not otherwise have connected before.
I have a big preparation process that I do for every character, big or small, supporting or lead. I do months of prep. I work with an acting coach, I work with a dialect coach, I work with a movement coach as well, and I do a lot of character breakdown work, timelines, any research I can, books and films, skills, whatever their skill set is, whatever the time period, I learn about the time period. I often look at a character and then I try and come up with the poignant moments they must have lived through in their life to become the person they became. So what were the key moments, and I invent these moments. Okay, what happened to them when they were 8 years old? What happened to them when they were 14? When were those key moments when something shaped the person they became? Sometimes like you read a scene and your character says or does something that you would never do. So when they react in a way and I can't understand why, I need to figure out why are they reacting in that way, and why can I convince myself that that's the way I should react in that moment? Why am I convinced that I should say that to that person right then? Because me as Margot thinks that it's a really stupid thing to say, or whatever it is. And so then I need to invent something, that I need to invent an experience they had in my head that's ingrained in them to react in that way. I need to pretend, okay, they were once humiliated by someone when they were such and such years old. That was a huge moment for them, and they were publicly shamed for the first time, and it's because that person used that word. So right now in this scene, when I have a huge reaction to someone calling me that word, the stakes are higher for me, because that resonates with me from a childhood level, and so my reaction can be bigger, stronger, you know, my point of view is stronger, and therefore I'm hoping my performance will be stronger.
Actors act, you know, and you do what it says on the tin, and when an opportunity comes along, you just take it with both hands. And there's no difference between a $5 performance or a street performance or, you know, a big Hollywood franchise or anything. It's whether, you know, you just get on the front. That shouldn't even need clapping. Do you know what I mean? That's just the way it is, right? Genuinely, the process it changes, and whatever it takes to get there. Mm-hmm. But the work is the work, and that's really bottom line. Mm-hmm. All it is, I'm just grateful to be working. So when you meet people who are super talented, then it doesn't matter what form it is. If you have the time, you do the job. I'm a strong advocate of any method necessary. Convincing acting. There's two types, right? There's not convincing,
Right.
and convincing, and I don't really fucking care how you get there. Just get there now. Normally things which are tough or complicated are the most fun. I do like darkness, but I don't. I'm not. But it's like in a light way, if that makes sense. Yeah, I like my darkness very light. Obviously, the work will open up emotion at times, but you can't force that. But then also you have continuity in play. So there's many ways to skin a cat. You have to tell a story, no matter what that takes. So I'm genuinely serious about it. There's no difference between a $5 performance or a 15 million or 50 million or 100 million. It doesn't matter what the stage is. It's what you do with the work is all that you have, because that's all I do have ultimately at the end of the day is my relationship with the work and my teammates.
During the week, I start, I probably have them on me. I do. I make my flashcards. And like this is Act 1, Scene A. And then there's my first cue line. And then on the back is my line. And I pace around my house and I do drill them like some sort of ballet dancer learning moves. And so I need the muscle memory to be in my mouth, at least to be really ready to go, because if I do think about it, A, the right words will never occur to me, and B, the ones that do will just be wrong.
I mean, I've been memorizing scripts since I was, regularly since I was about 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I have kind of a photographic memory issue. It's not what I rely on, but it is how I remember things. I memorize the whole and not the parts. So that's why when they make changes and the pages change, I lose my...
I hear that.
I lose my picture of the page. I came to acting from elementary school plays.
You're a feral actor.
I am. I'm a wild beast of an actor.
Do you run lines with anyone?
No.
No.
Everyone's different. Mine is a little more internal. I just like to be really present, the character, how it works, how we're going to play the scene, what we think, the logistics of the work. And other people like to talk about it and really kind of hash it out. And so, okay, what do you think? Can I do? What do you? I don't mind doing that. I don't mind being the other person. I just don't prefer doing that. You just got to be prepared to like face what the day is going to be, and that means you got to be, you got to know your lines, and you got to you just constantly trying to make it seem as natural as possible. It's like learning to dribble with your left hand. You don't get good at it by thinking about doing it. Do it. Most actors it takes time to get good. I feel like there's something that just settles, where you just, again, like it just feels like it's not happening. It feels like you're not acting.
I suppose it's a very sensual, very physical. I like to hope that I'm making a strong physical impact. I've always had a lot of energy, and I've had a lot of invention and imagination, and I've found that exciting. Mark, as I get older, I move away from that. Well, I've come to a conclusion the last couple of years. I've suddenly realized what I think acting is, and it's a very simple thing. Acting is thinking the thoughts of another person. Once you adopt the mental patterns of another person, and that's what the writer gives you, then everything else follows. Emotion and your physical life follow on from then. So for me, it's much less to do with having an idea about the way I want to look or having an idea about the way I want to walk. It's about actually starting to think those thoughts, that those words are mine, they come from me. And then I'll change. My physical life changes, and my emotional life changes utterly. You've really got to master the text completely, so that you can. Because the great art of acting, which many people want to know how you learn the lines is, and the answer to that is by forgetting everything else. Clear your mind out completely of anything else that might be in it, any of your daily concerns, anything else. Blank sheet, and then you put down these thoughts. It's almost like creating a new file on a computer. You put in all those thoughts on that page. But the actual question is not how do you learn the lines, but how do you forget them? How do you appear to have forgotten? You have to surprise yourself with your own thought. And only then will it be in the present. That's the great thing about acting. The function of acting, in my view, is to bring everybody into the present. What the theatre can do for you is to bring you into the present moment. It's sort of Zen-like. You're there with those people, you're following it. Nothing else in the world matters to you except the lives of those people. And then it makes you very alive.
I think it's a fulfillment of an aspiration that
I would never even have thought to dare to have allowed, let alone to myself, until I came into my 50s and I looked at my life, who I am, what I know about love from my kids, and it gives it a context now that, wow, I love my job and it's the best one in the world. It also has proven to be something that I can do to help reach others in a way that's meaningful, that has gratitude, and has taught me some humility. That's why.